Well, what a wonderful thickened fog day to you, Meg with Sprint Burst. My name is Bricky. Welcome to the Dead by Daylight Casefile, featuring the first, foremost, and box art killer, the Trapper, or better known as the Trappy Boy. The Trapper's name is Evan Macmillan, the associated killer with the Macmillan estate maps. His dad, Archie Macmillan, owned the place and was a real dick. Evan took after this, and he was a real dick. People got paid little, worked very hard, and when Archie started mentally degrading, Evan was like, well, what good are you, Dad? Evan took everything over. Soon, he overworked himself to a point where he snapped and went on the biggest mass murder in modern history. Killed almost all of his workers, most to all of his neighbors, and was never seen or heard from again. His father was found starved and abandoned in a warehouse, and now our Trappy Boy does what he does best. Drawing trapping survivors. So the Trapper's ability is, you guessed it, bear traps. The Trapper starts with one base bear trap and has a ton scattered across the map. You place bear traps mostly anywhere on the map so long as they aren't too close to an object, another trap, or a hooked survivor. When stepped in, the survivor is immobilized and are dropped one damage state. Then they must attempt to break free of the trap, consistently rolling the RNG dice to try to get out the iron jaws of bad luck. Meanwhile, the Trapper gets notified both by sound and aura across the entire span of the map when one of you took a wrong step, and you can be sure he's coming right for you. Traps can, however, be disabled by survivors who are apparently totally down with losing a couple fingers, and even destroyed if they run sabotage, a toolbox, or they never skipped leg day. You can also accidentally step in your own bear trap. It doesn't hurt you apparently because the Trapper is too much of a Chad for the virgin bear trap, but it will stun you for a little and make you drop a survivor if you're carrying one. Now, Evan may look like a hunk of beef, but don't want those spooky arms, metal pieces, skull mask, cleaver, overalls, and other extremely sexy features deceive you. He's a fast boy. Naturally, the Trapper has the fastest base movement speed in the game at 115%. Survivor's sprint speed is exactly 100%. He also has one of the longest lunges in the game, allowing you to snag a hit at the tail end of his cleaver swings, like giving him a bloody dirty Sanchez. But the hitbox of the cleaver is a tad thin, so you gotta make sure you land those hits correctly. But how do I play the Trappy Boy? Well, Trapper relies on his bear traps for a solid portion of the game. Most of the early game will be spent attempting to place bear traps in solid areas that you can feel survivors might walk into. These areas are best near the vault points or in tall grass by generators. Survivors tend to do a weird teleport thing when using pallets, making it a little wonky to put by pallets, but vaulting always gives you a solid snag, and so does hiding them in the grass. Past that, you have some of the best base stats of any killer, so you'll be chasing them quite a lot. Pallets are going to be your biggest issue, but like most killers, break the ones that are safe and ignore the unsafe ones. Trappy Boy is a fast-ass bitch, so keep running, keep slapping survivors. If you can, herd them into your traps to minimize your time chasing as well. That's the whole point of the Trapper. Most of the time, you're not going to get a survivor accidentally stepping in your traps. It'll happen occasionally, but unless you're chasing them, there's a good chance it won't happen. The Trapper is the best at going ahead and herding a survivor towards a vault point that they have to use and stepping in the trap right there. You get some extra points, you get to pick them up immediately, and then boom, on the hook they go. Speaking of hooks, when it comes to hooking survivors, most hooks have a vault point near it where you can place a trap. Putting the trap on that point is your best bet because placing them all around the feet of them makes it way too obvious and can be easily removed. But if there's no vault point, you can probably just find a route used to save the hook survivor and put it there, and either just roll the dice that they'll run that direction specifically or herd them into it. So in conclusion, set up traps, beat the survivors like your meat on December 1st, and herd them into the traps for maximum snappy. For the Trapper's add-ons, the 4 you want the most are what makes setting traps faster, more difficult to see, carry more, or the 2 main stones. Trapper gloves, trap setters, and setting tools for the speed, logwood dye and the tar bottle for the stealth, Trapper bag and the stitched bag for the extra traps, and the honing and diamond stone for a large amount of bullshit. The teachable perks we have are oh no I dropped the soap, yummy yummy pellets in my tummy, and the CrossFit workout. Now agitation and brutal strength are definitely worth picking up. Unnerving presence is it's okay sometimes, but generally not very worth it. The other 2, however, I highly recommend. Standard perk builds for the killer include 1 for tracking, 1 for hooks, 1 for generators, and 1 for situations. Whispers is a good choice because it's an amazing tracking perk in general, but also if you have the Whispers going, you know don't set a trap right now because Sabo Jake is around the corner jerking off, ready to destroy it. Agitation is excellent for getting people to the hook faster. It's really good on all killers. Next up, you want Overcharge or Hex Ruin. Overcharge is already a great perk, but Hex Ruin is actually surprisingly good on the Trapper for 2 reasons. Number 1 is it slows down the early game, so all the time you spend placing traps won't be wasted, and also if you're lucky enough that the Hex isn't in a horrible position, you can actually trap around the Hex to bait them. Finally, I like to run either Brutal Strength or Enduring for pallets, Barbecue and Chili for points or tracking, and Franklin's Demise for flashlights. But if you want to be a trappy meme, you go Hex Ruin, Hex Thrill the Hunt, Hex Devour Hope, and Overcharge, because trapping every Hex on the map never felt so good. And with that, this has been our guide on Evan McMillan, the Trapper and the Trappy Boy. As a reminder to all my killer friends, this game is played how you want to play it. You can do whatever you feel like. No made up rules, no made up honor code, no made up anything. It should tell you how to play your killer. Be the master of your own game, and most of all, have fun. My name has been Bricky, and liking traps isn't gay, but stepping in them is. Bye-bye.